Welcome, fellow Stardust. Are you ready to tour the Stanley Hotel? Thank you for joining me on my visit to the Stanley Hotel, located in Estes Park. This is the hotel Stephen King stayed at with his wife and son the night he wrote his novel, The Shining. However, this is not where the film was shot. Instead, the exterior shots of the Overlook Hotel, set in the Rocky Mountains, were of Timberland Lodge in Oregon, and the interior was inspired by and built to look like the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite Park. One evening, Stephen and his wife were desperate for a room to stay in, and finally came upon the Stanley Hotel. But most of the staff was preparing for winter break, leaving the family of three practically alone in the luxurious hotel, much like what we see in the novel and the film. Stephen began to get inspired when he pulled back the shower curtain of the clawfoot tub and imagined someone dead inside. That night, he had a nightmare that his son was being chased by a fire hose. When he awoke, he began to furiously write The Shining, which took him only one day to write. Unfortunately, the room Stephen King stayed in, room 217, was occupied during my visit, but I was able to grab some footage of the door. There is a 3-year waiting list for this spooky room. Jim Carrey was also said to have stayed in this room when they shot the banquet scene in Dumb and Dumber, but he only lasted a few hours before running out and never returning. Jim Carrey's only contingency when shooting the sequel was that they wouldn't shoot at the Stanley Hotel again. Alright, let's head to the Hedge Maze. The Hedge Maze in Kubrick's film is a pillar in the story, but was something that King did not incorporate. Instead, King had hedges shaped like animals that came to life, but Kubrick switched it up a bit. He felt that a hedge maze with towering walls would create a sense of claustrophobia. And he was right. This was true for both the audience and the cast and crew. The snow in the maze was made of 900 tons of salt and crumbled styrofoam, which was recycled from Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. The light reflected harshly off of this mixture, making the maze a very hot work environment for the cast and crew. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall would take off their layers of clothing between takes in order to cool off. The chase scene in the maze between Danny and Jack took a month to shoot because the crew members were unable to keep up with the actors and they kept getting lost. Kubrick even got lost in the maze as a result of testing it out after complaining it wasn't complicated enough. To please the fans of the film, the Stanley Hotel decided to build the Hedge Maze, which opened in 2015. And right next door was Post Chicken and Beer. The staff was incredibly nice, and I loved feeling the mountain breeze flow throughout the restaurant. Luckily, it wasn't too busy when I stopped in for lunch. The chicken sandwich wasn't bad, but it was lacking some seasoning in the batter. It also needed some more sauce in the sandwich, and the hot sauce that was on the side didn't really have any flavor. As a result, I ended up only eating half of the sandwich, but I did enjoy them greens. After my meal, I went downstairs to use the bathroom, and it was quite the treat to see the shining carpet pattern, as well as an old-timey jukebox with dead roses on top. That's where I belong. No matter. Thank you again for joining me today, fellow Stardust. I hope I catch you in the next one. Peace.